This is something that is going to impact this community for years to come. And again, we need to remember, you know, the side door. I'm not trying to point fingers. I don't know the exact facts at this moment, but from what I understand, a side door was unlocked. That seems to be a common pattern in many of these shootings, a side door. If we can lock the side doors and make sure that the schools are secure, hopefully we can avoid these tragedies going forward.
Side doors. That's what Fox News was talking about when it came to the shooting that just happened on Monday at this small school, elementary level school in Tennessee. Side doors. So apparently they haven't had a chance to look at the footage that did go down and how that shooter did enter the building and murder 6 people. Let's see that. Okay, well, as you can see, the shooter then shot through multiple doors, ducked under a couple of barriers within those doors that the glass didn't break from, with that huge gun that he was carrying, and walked into the school anyway. So I guess side doors is out. Okay, next excuse that we can go through from some of the folks who are defending their desire to see more children be killed, murdered, dismembered by guns, huge ones. As a matter of fact, the next one is the identity of that shooter. As I pointed out, he entered the school. That's what they're on now, because during this press conference from the Nashville chief, told news outlets that the shooter is was, as he's now been murdered, a trans man. His LinkedIn profile shows the pronouns as he, him. Audrey Hale, as everyone knows, he's been identified since this whole shooting then went down. So because of that, there's a new angle beyond the thoughts and prayers and the mental health arguments and all those same things we usually go with. Oh, and it was somebody that I don't like. So then apparently it's now bad, but we're still not going to do anything about what they were carrying and how they pulled off this mass murder. Benny Johnson, as a matter of fact, one of these conservative heroes, tweeted this out and got a nice response from Elon Musk, their hero. He said the Colorado Springs shooter identified as non-binary. The Denver shooter identified as trans. The Aberdeen shooter identified as trans as well. The Nashville shooter identified as trans. One thing is very clear. The modern trans movement is radicalizing activists into terrorists. Wow. So he's got 3 examples, shaky ones, 3 examples, and that's enough to convince him that the trans movement is what's fueling mass shootings. Keep that in mind, because he's thinking about 3 examples of why trans folks are the reasons behind we have so many people murdered in mass shootings. Elon Musk responded to that with an exclamation point because he's an idiot. Still, though, so this was echoed by lawmakers as well. Dumb ones, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. She said, how much hormones, because she doesn't know how to write or speak, how much hormones like testosterone and medications for mental illness was the transgender Nashville school shooter taking? Everyone can stop blaming guns now. That's her point. Everyone can stop blaming guns now. The thing that she worships when she says she worships Jesus Christ. Actually, she worships Smith and Wesson. The Father, the Son, I guess the Holy Spirit is Glock. Who knows? As long as there's more guns in people's hands and children's heads are getting shot off. That's great. Let's continue that. Some of those folks took that further. Candace Owens use this attack also to attack hormone replacement therapy and big pharma, because they're opponents of big pharma. We deserve to know exactly what drugs Audrey Hale was on. No one talks about big pharma's contribution to shootings. Virtually all of these psychopaths are on antidepressants, hormones, trans, antipsychotics, etc. Hold pharma execs responsible for their human experiments. Maybe we can hold big pharma responsible for price gouging people for normal medications, or maybe even some of those medications that people actually use. So we've got these excuses. So trans folks have taken over, apparently, the mass shooting lane for all these conservatives, so they can have someone else to hide behind because they're effing cowards. That's why, when in reality, I remember, I think it was Benny Johnson, is that his name? Benny Johnson said 3 to 4 different examples have given him his conclusion about how trans folks are fueling mass shootings. In reality, this is what was tweeted by the serfs. 98% of mass shooters are cis men. He kind of forgot that part. Absolutely vile that the, quote, don't politicize mass shooting crowd are going all in on using this to ramp up their transphobia, because that's the actual point here, Waz. Last thought here before I let you in here. Because you know what this is revealing about them? As they've gone through these normal things about, thoughts and prayers and let's not do this too soon. Now they're blaming mental health. That's one of the lanes that they're pushing, is mental health. Now, and how we need to approach and address mental health. How would they do that? Are they in favor of mental health capabilities being opened up, or people who suffer from sometimes some of these issues then being taken care of? How would that work? Would it cost money? Will we have to implement some kind of governmental system to assist folks like this, since they're concerned about mental health? How many bills have they been following and looking after and supporting from certain politicians that would help people who maybe can't get the mental health help that they need on their own? Are they willing to add more dollars to that? How many more millions, tens of millions of dollars are they willing to look to add for mental health help in our country? Are they backing those bills? Because now they're talking about mental health. How much are they actually on this case? They're actually not. Anything that requires anything that doesn't go to guns and wars and rich folks and corporations, they're not in favor of, if you haven't figured that out yet. I'm done ranting, Waz.
Yeah, I think it says something about me and my own sort of fatigue with the issue, in the sense that I hear what these guys are saying as a bit of progress, honestly. That lady on Fox News saying that guns don't kill people, side doors kill people. That's a different conversation. As asinine and ridiculous as that is, Candace Owens mentioning that, well, maybe some of these people are over medicated and they need to get the proper treatment. That's actually offering a different solution, which is usually the case, JR, which is more guns. Every single gun problem can only ever be solved, according to these wackos, with more guns. So I hear that as these people actually conceding to the idea that maybe every single person in America shouldn't have a gun. Maybe, just maybe, that might be a step in the direction of less gun deaths and violence. It's really sad. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I mean, she's proven herself over the course of her span as a public figure that she just cannot be taken seriously in matters of policy, of thought, of human dignity, human decency, excuse me. She just can't be taken seriously. But, at least these people are trying to get in the direction of maybe less guns in the hands of everybody.
Maybe, right? So since they have these issues they have, ask them how they actually look to resolve them, because it's always brought up as just a problem and never with a solution, because that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for an excuse to not talk about the actual problem. So the folks who talk about mental health and then the guns are just a tool in the hands of the wrong person, why is it you want folks that are having mental health crises to have huge weapons in their hands indiscriminately and freely and as easily as possible in any kind of way to go shoot up anything that they want? Since you hate folks that go through mental health issues, why do you want them to have guns? Because, by the way, I feel like I've been on the record. Take all of them away. I don't care who's got it. Take all those effing guns away. That's where I'm standing right now. So no, I don't care if you're trans. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Latino, woman, man, anything else. Take the guns away. I don't know exactly how it can pull that off, because we're so deep in it, it's damn near impossible. But the other side is thoughts and prayers. How does that one work? It doesn't. That's why they keep saying it. That's not what lines their pockets. That's not what the NRA lobby and other gun lobbyists tell them to say, because they're in office to serve the rich, because we're in a capitalistic society that has absolutely no limit on how much we care about how much money we can give to the top folks and kill as many people as possible in the process. And the folks who are actually worried about getting killed, they have no power in this situation. And when they cry and they get mad and they step in front of cameras and they rant and rave about it the way we do here, they go, who cares? Nobody's listening to them. They're not billionaires. That's how this process works in this country.
Yeah,
go
and
to
I,
this.
and I
Yeah.
think the people that, just one last thing, I think the people, the powers that be, the people in the federal government, specifically, folks in the GOP, they've recognized that they've turned this into a wedge issue. And it's effective for them. And people have become so deeply politicized by guns. And any sort of idea that we would curtail the purchases and the ownership of guns. Republicans know that this is an easy issue to wedge themselves between voters and Democrats with, and so they're incentivized to do this kind of nonsense.
They're incentivized by it, and the veil continues to be slowly taken off.